Hi, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Accountant. Today we have podcast royalty, author and accountant. It's none other than Lucy Cohen, co-founder of Mazuma Accounting. Hi, Lucy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. Nice to see you.
What problems did you encounter when scaling Mazuma?
What problems did we not encounter when scaling Mazuma is probably the easier question to answer. You name it, we messed up. Look, growth is painful. It's got growing pains, and growth is painful and growth is expensive. And it's when you're scaling and you're scaling quickly, if you make a mistake and it takes you in that direction, that mistake gets amplified and amplified and amplified. And it's a lot to kind of pull that back. So if I was doing it all again, I'd be saying that I'd want to get systems you want to get your systems rock solid before you kind of press go. Strong foundations. You've got to have those strong foundations. And know that, don't fall into the trap of thinking just because it's going like this month, I mean, it's going to keep going like that next month. It might go like that, it might go like that, it might go down, it might go up again. You have to kind of be okay with that journey. And for us, the biggest challenges is resourcing in terms of staff. So staffing that growth is very challenging because everyone's got a speed to competency time. So what that speed to competency is might be an average of, I don't know, say 12 weeks or 6 months or whatever it might be. You would almost have to hire somebody X amount of months before you need them to be working at full capacity. And that costs money. That costs money to do. You're going to have members of staff, you'll be carrying members of staff as you scale that aren't as efficient. And you need to have the space within your model to kind of handle that. Also, all the other things that go with it, you have to be okay, things work in percentages. The first client you ever have that leaves really hurts. Like when a client leaves you, like, oh, it's awful. And you take it really personally. If you've got 10 clients, one client leaving you hurts. You've got 100 clients, 10 clients leaving. It's percentages. And remember, that's going to change. And everyone's on their own life cycles in terms of their business and their accountancy journey, their suppliers' journeys, all that kind of stuff. And then just systems, a system that works for 100 clients is not robust enough for 1,000 clients. So, again, you kind of have to have the foresight. And if something isn't working in the business and you're thinking this isn't efficient anymore, you've changed it too late. You should have seen that 3 steps before and gone, this works now, but in 8 months' time, we're going to have this problem, and just kind of accept that growth is expensive. And you might not be making, if growth is your goal, that bottom line is going to take a hit, but you have to decide if it's worth it. And that's kind of the journey.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you said, it's not linear.
No,
you're going to be linear unless you're really, really lucky. But
but
I think one of the main questions people will probably have then, and you sort of touched on it, how do you know when it's the right time to hire someone? Is it when you have enough money, like to kind of like have them, to train them up and having that sort of like cover them on that speed to competency time? Or is it a feeling? Or is it like once you're overwhelmed and you're like, I can't handle this? Like, when is it? Like, how did you...
If you're overwhelmed, it's too late. And if you think you've got enough money to hire somebody, it's too late. Whenever sorry?
When is it too early?
If there's not enough work for them. So I've made that mistake. We hired people and there literally wasn't, we didn't have enough income to pay the rent, let alone like salaries. They're just sitting around with nothing to do. And of course, when people sitting around with nothing to do will get bored and leave, people have to have the right amount of work to do to stay engaged, feel like they've got a purpose and a part of something. So I've done both. I've hired people way too late. I've hired people way too soon. You also tend to fall into this thing of like, oh, if I could just hire somebody, my life would be that much easier. But hiring people just creates you a whole other set of problems. So you have all the HR things to deal with. You have to then also navigate and deal with somebody else's wants, needs, ambitions, problems. You're no longer dealing with, oh, this client's really demanding. You're dealing with that client's really demanding, and now my member of staff is coming in late because their cat's sick. Life happens and it's messy, and the more people you have, the more life is around you and the messier it is. Again, you have to be prepared for that. I'd say that the right time to hire somebody is at the point you kind of might have 1 or 2 days a week where you're like, oh, I'm quite busy now, like I'm kind of got a full day, and the working on the business is starting to slip into the evening. At that point, you probably want to think, actually, I need to start thinking about hiring somebody now. You don't want to hire them at the point where like you're doing work all day, every day, and then working on the business in the evening every night. If you've got like a couple of days a week where you're kind of extending your hours into the evening to work on the business because you're spending your time in the day in the business, that's when you need to hire somebody.
Love it. Yes, that was so good. So succinct. Perfect.
I wish I'd known that 16 years ago. I wish I'd known that 16 years ago.
Well, see, like through this show, we're going to help so many people.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's going to know when to hire someone, when to know that they're overwhelmed and they've got too much on. And
you will never feel like you've got enough money to hire somebody. That's it as well. Somehow you have to, and I'm not particularly one about this, but somehow you have to believe in the universe. You will never feel like you have enough money to pay people's wages, but somehow you just will. And it will come together, because suddenly when you're not dealing all that stuff, if you suddenly got this space to kind of take on new clients and build your business, you're kind of gifted the bandwidth to work on the business. And that's the magic that pays the salaries.
Yeah, that's it. And it kind of like circles back to what you were saying at the beginning, that creativity requires bandwidth. You cannot be creative and entrepreneurial when you're literally like bogged down with accounts and stuff. It's never gonna happen. And the other thing I've totally forgot now, but you said something really, really nice. That was that you follow your passion and the money will follow.
Absolutely.
Like, you're doing something good, the money will come. Like, it's a trust thing. And that's, as you say, like we've said it a few times, but the universe will provide, people.
It will. The universe will it just like the right things will come your way, and you just have to be open to seeing them. And when you're bogged down and just like feeling like you're buried, you're not looking up to see the opportunities, and you just always have to try. Even now I don't get it right. Like I had this weekend, I was like, oh, I've got so much on my plate. I was having a proper like little pity party about something this weekend, and it's the sunshine day, and I've got a grip of myself and I'm feeling a lot better. But even I was 16 years in, I was throwing myself a little pity party over the weekend because I felt a bit stressed about something. So it happens, but you have to look up and see the opportunities. Otherwise, you're just going to get buried in it.
Sure. And just to wrap it up, speaking of 16 years ago, if you had a time machine and you could go back in time to see yourself, your 16 year ago self, what words of advice would you give yourself?
Oh, that's a great question. Keep the faith. Like, keep the faith. You're on the right path. You're gonna get there. I don't know. So this is the thing. I don't know if I'd change any of the mistakes I made, because I've learned so much from all the mistakes, no matter how painful, how financially painful they were. I've learned so much from them. That lived experience has really shaped who I am. So I kind of don't want to not make those mistakes. I might not be the person I am now, but I just kind of whisper in 23-year-old Lucy's ear and I go, keep at it, girl. You've got this. You can do it. Like, it's going to be okay. Just a little it's a little like push in the right direction, a little bit of belief. I think that's probably all I'd do.
No, that's really, really nice. And you're totally right. Like, there's no replacement for lived experience. Doesn't matter, like I'm sure parents and friends and stuff try to tell you what's going to happen if you do this, or this might happen to you, and it's like you just can't listen to them. You have to follow your heart and live it, and that's the only way to find out. So that's really beautiful. And thank you so much. That was such a good episode. I'm so excited. I'm glad
you enjoyed it. I had so much fun. Thanks so much for having me on. I've had a blast.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. And for me, I don't know, it's weird because I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be using them as this, but they're becoming my therapy,
Good, cool.
Like, I get to ask all the questions that I want to know, like the burning questions, and just get so much. And I hope that basically it'll be really helpful for everyone else.
Me too. I hope people get a couple of great takeaways out of it, and just kind of if they're having a wobble, I hope it makes them kind of take the next step.
I think it will do. So thank you so much. I guess we'll catch up soon and we'll stay in touch, and I'm looking forward to reading your book. It sounds amazing.
Cool. All right, awesome. Look, stay in touch. And if you need anything else from me, just give me a shout.
To make sure you catch every episode, subscribe to the channel or sign up to the Sage Advice newsletter at the bottom of the page.